sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First ride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity and spirit, the heart of the year. Raising voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zone to go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. In Florida's field, we're a united band.
All right, welcome here to the Tampa Bay edition of the Blitz here on FortHSFootball.com and the FortHSFootball.com social media handles. Josh Wilson, along with Christopher Lake. We're back here for our fourth and final show of tonight. We've got 4 more tomorrow as well. So, yes, we're doing 8 shows. I know it's ambitious, but to try to give love to these different areas of the state. We're such a huge state, you know, geographically, but also with the number of schools that we have here, Chris. Trying to give all the teams their love as well. But, you know, it's great to be here with everybody. And how are you doing after the marathon here that we've had here?
Oh, doing great. You know, it's fun to see the season get started, and especially with the teams in Tampa. You know, you got a lot of great teams like Clearwater, Central Catholic, you can't plant, you know.
Tampa Bay Tech.
There's a who's who of teams.
So sorry, we even go into Polk County here. We got Lakeland, we got Lake Wells, we got those teams, and we go up along the North Suncoast as well. So over 100 schools just in the Tampa Bay region alone, Chris.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage of teams that can compete for the title in this region.
No, absolutely. And yeah, hey, before we get rolling here, as we go right into the Blitz Lines and talk about what's going on in Tampa Bay high school football, and we've got some comments already firing in the comment box. And Nolly, I am glad to see you. Hello, good evening to you, Nolly. It is glad to see you back. And of course, Mark Cannon's in there, and Emery Smith. He said he's already commenting off about Lakeland, surprised about Lakeland getting blown out. And then Nolly, he says, "I'm back, Mark." Well, I'm glad Nolly's back because Nolly's always been part of in the comments on the different shows. So we've missed him. I'm glad he's back, and it is great to be here. But tonight we'll be talking to Dan Krause from Clearwater Central Catholic, the voice of the Marauders. And I love it because Dan does a lot with CCC. I mean, it's just not just football, but with the other sports as well. I know he does a lot around there, but football's the big thing there for him. But, I mean, it's just Tampa Bay football. We'll be talking about it all season long with everything that we're doing here. I mean, it's just there's over 100 programs just in this particular region. And, again, you mentioned CCC, Chris. Tampa Bay Tech is another potential title hunt contender. Armwood is another one. You got Lakeland over in Polk County. There's quite a few programs. I mean, how about this? I'll go up the North Suncoast. Wiregrass Ranch. That's another team to keep an eye on this year because they are definitely going to be a team that is going to. They caught fire last year. They made a deep playoff run. Mitchell's another one there in Pasco County. I suspect to see that. I would hope to see some improvements come out of Hernando County. Lecanto up in Citrus County, they made some improvements this past year. So, but really at the end of the day, it's going to be fun watching football. And it's the as Nolly said, the off season is slow and boring. And you know what? Yes, I agree. Yeah. It is off season is slow and boring. So. Mark Cannon says Reno's all about the ranch. We did hear that quite a few times last year. Know that?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, as we roll here, the kickoff classics. We go through the kickoff classics from last week. Mother Nature had some impacts on the variety games, depending where you were at in the Bay region. It was either you got your kickoff classic in, or you were scrambling trying to figure out how can I get the rust off these guys before you get into toe meets leather for real here this week, and with some of the games that we've got on deck here, Chris. I mean, talk about it when it really comes down to the teams having to figure out how to handle these things with the weather, because it's been maddening in some aspects.
Yeah, you go through it every year in Florida, especially with the hurricane season picking back up again. Of course, we got one up in the Atlantic that trying to make it noise on the East Coast. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and I remember I saw a coach post last week about this. It wasn't in this particular region, but I just bring it up because it's like, oh, here we go. Week one's going to be a wash. But I'm like, no. We're not introducing that bad juju. Thank goodness. Week one, and will not be a wash, people. So this is, I'm glad that we're here. But by the way, I will speak this because it's a big thing that I think people should. I will remind people, we do have the universal week 12 bye week now. That has been baked into the calendar now with the Florida High School Athletic Association. So week 12 is now available as a week for teams to use should they need it for makeups. It's not a week to be able to schedule games on. It's a week to put games on if you need it for makeup purposes, obviously for the power rankings come towards the end of the season.
And that's a nice buffer to have, especially with the weather system. Weather is year round, and especially in South Florida and North Florida, all over the state of Florida. I mean
Tampa. Let's talk about Tampa. It took a brunt of Milton last year, so that's the big thing right here. And hey, Coach Molina is in here. He's LFG Longhorn Nation. Let's make history. And I am so many hits talking about those Leonard Longhorns, but. Yes, it's definitely the weather situation. I think is going to be a big thing. I'm hoping for this week, it definitely in this situation, the teams are able to play their games and get them in this week and start off the season on a high note. That's what I'm really hoping for. That's one big wish I have right there. It's Mother Nature not playing foul with us.
You want all these teams to have 10 games. That's the big goal.
No, absolutely, and everything with that said. But I know I was just looking at. I know CCC and Armwood played Friday night in the Kickoff Classic. Again, you can take all you want out of Kickoff Classics, but this is one game where a situation where Armwood's good. Clearwater Central Catholic is going to be strong again, and honestly, let's just be honest here, and honestly, I just don't. I would like to figure out a way. Can we kind of figure out, maybe this open division bracket? Honestly, I'll be in my opinion is this open division bracket that's coming may actually be in Clearwater Central Catholic might be like, hey, we'll take it. Let's get Chairman Madonna out of here so that maybe we can have a chance to win that title finally. Because 3 years in a row, it's I know it's been difficult, but we'll talk to Dan Krause about this, and everything else with CCC as we come along here. But man, I'm really excited. Tampa's one of those regions where I don't think sometimes it gets talked about enough, because of the teams there, and I sometimes feel like maybe Tampa gets overlooked in a lot of ways.
Yeah, not just Tampa, St. Petersburg as well. Yeah. They've got some great teams in St. Petersburg.
Although I'm talking about the entire Bay region, I should clarify that. So no, I agree with you, Chris. You go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, you got Clearwater, you got St. Petersburg, you got. I mean, there's no shortage of teams that can. There's no reason Tampa Bay should not have a state champion.
No, I agree, and and it's interesting, and I'll bring this up here as another one, and before we roll along here, before we get to our interview here with Dan Krause. Pinellas County is still, for schools, I mean between public and private, they're still looking for that first state title. No school in Pinellas County has still won that state title. Many teams have gone to state title games. It's looking for that first one, and that's where it seems to be like, get there. But we still got one more step to climb, the glass ceiling, so to speak, that needs to be broken. So, but hopefully that will happen this year as we looked at talk about some of these games here, and of course we're looking at Pasco County, Citrus County, Hernando County. Those will be areas that we'll talk about as well. Polk County, obviously a big one, but again the big area with the Bay region. With Hillsborough County and Pinellas, we'll be watching those as well as we go along here. But guys, if you're not following us on social media, follow us on social media at Fort HS Football. Subscribe to that YouTube channel right now. Hit that subscribe button, and also you can follow us on X at Fort HS Football. We're also getting a TikTok going, so we've had a TikTok account, but haven't really utilized it. Started utilizing it a little bit. Yeah, now I see where all y'all kids are at now. So. Anyways, let's take a 2-minute timeout. Then we're going to bring Dan Krause on from Clearwater Central Catholic, the voice of the Marauders, and then we'll have a great conversation with him. We'll be right back after about a 2-minute break here on the Tampa Bay edition of the Blitz here on FortHSFootball.com. We'll be right back right after this.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Touchdown! Touchdown!
Juggled and caught!
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought, if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it, because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, there's a great chance that I can do it. The First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
All right, welcome back here to the Blitz, the Tampa Bay edition here, as we roll along here, getting ready for week number 1. And by the way, as coming back here, was reading the comment from Nully. He says Pinellas will get one before the end of the decade. Remember, I called it. I love it here. I love it as we get
nice bold prediction.
Yeah, I love it. I love bold predictions. I remember, Chris, this was one of the guys that Larry Bluestein worked with. He's now at the Village's Daily Sun. His name's JT Wilcox. bald dude, and he had the bald cast down there when he worked at WQAM and with the South Florida High School Sports Report. I always remember his bald cast with the bald takes because he was always making bald predictions. So, that's what we call it. So it reminded me of that bold prediction. Maybe we should have some bold predictions. That's I'm probably making bold predictions with the pick six. But anyways, on to our interview portion here with Dan Krause, the voice of the Clearwater Central Catholic Marauders. Dan, I appreciate you being able to come on. I know it was last second ask, but I know to be able to get you on. I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge, especially when it comes around the program at Clearwater Central Catholic. Just kind of give us some insight how you got involved in CCC. I mean, and then being able to work, talk about working with Coach Chris Harvey. I know y'all just got a new school athletic director. John Gertis retired after many years, so I'm forgetting who's the new athletic director now. But just talk about all the relationships that you have built there. I mean, it's exciting what you do.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Josh and Chris. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and speak to everybody. It's a great day to be a Marauder, but it's a great day to be a high school football fan in the state of Florida, isn't it? It's just it's an overall great time of year.
It really is. I mean, yes.
if you can't get excited for this time of year, you're probably not a high school football fan. So the reality is, so I've been very fortunate to be around Clearwater Central Catholic High School football in some way, shape, or form really since 1992. I was actually in fourth grade at a local elementary school over in the Seminole area. I've been very fortunate to just get the opportunity to work with Coach John Davis, Coach Mike Gelazzo, obviously Coach Chris Harvey, the current head coach at CCC. Very also fortunate because we've only had 3 head coaches since 1994, actually, or 1994, John Davis, Mike Gelazzo, John Davis, and then Chris Harvey. So 3 head coaches total. And that's part of the secret to the success is you have consistency in coaching. But the other aspect is, I've just been around CCC for so long at this point that I just have kind of taken over kind of the stats and the history of the football team and having the opportunity to work with so many players over the years and just kind of following them in their lives after CCC and how they come back. How's the Marauders doing? How are we doing? How's Pinellas County doing? How's Tampa Bay doing? So we get an opportunity to follow up on a lot of that. But yeah, I've had the opportunity to keep the stat book up to date at CCC, and it's really a history worth remembering. You alluded to it earlier, no state championships, but we've really done everything just shy of that. So we're just waiting to take that last step, but it's really been remarkable. So it's been a amazing ride, especially seeing this program go from a 2-8 team every single year. And I can say this because John Davis would agree with me, but there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, teams would try to have their homecoming on our field. So it was.
wait, hold on. Their homecoming on y'all's field.
Yeah, it was we were, there were some times where we were building the program up. It was tough, but it was we've gone through everything, and we've really had an opportunity to see everything that CCC has to offer, from 2-8 to 4-6 to 5-5, 6-4, 7-3, and then obviously the last couple of years kind of speak for themselves.
No, absolutely. And so we roll on. Chris, you can chime in with your questions when you're ready for one. But the growth, I've watched what CCC has done. I mean, this is going in year 16. And I mean, I have just watched where, between everything, obviously John Davis, the first time that, back in, I want to say 2013, it was against Trinity Christian and I think it was, want to say the 3A state title game was in Orlando. I remember that game. I that was not a pretty game, but, obviously the more recent trips that, under Chris Harvey, but, just to watch the program evolve. And I know at one point, I don't even think the stadium had an actually full name, but now the stadium has a full name, James Bryan Thomas Stadium. I mean, talk about that, just watching all that with everything that it's gone. Obviously, I think you probably still watched it go from grass field to turf field too, I believe.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny you say that, because that's one of the things that we've actually discussed. We kind of take a look at how the stadium has evolved, going from, being very fortunate to have a turf field and a very nice field house, a very nice stadium. Again, it wasn't that long ago that literally what the current visitor side was the home bleachers, and the visitor side was actually closer to the home locker room than the home team. So there was always a lot of those idiosyncrasies that went on that just made CCC kind of like that CCC. And we loved it. Like, those were the little things that just identified us as a program. And we never really thought much about it, but it's always the little things. And it's humbling to look back at it, like what the locker room looked like and what it looks like now. So seeing the evolution of the program throughout time, especially over the last probably 20 years, has really been humbling. And it's just a great community. Coach Harvey does a great job. Craig Everhart is the new athletic director. He was the offensive coordinator
that's
for
right.
CCC.
That's right. Craig Everhart. And I know Craig has been around a few different programs in the Tampa Bay area. So it's a familiar name to say the least.
Yeah, he's terrific. He's one of the coolest guys you could ever hope to meet, and just a fun guy to be around and talk around. The players loved him last year. He was the offensive coordinator last year. He ran obviously a clean offense, very fun to be around. This year, Jay Davis, who's a Marauder legend, quarterback at CCC, during his playing days at CCC in the Marauder Athletic Hall of Fame, he takes over the offensive coordinator duties, and he's terrific. I mean, he's just one of those. He's got such a brilliant mind that you learn a lot from just being around him. You think after being around CCC for so long that I wouldn't be able to learn much about CCC, and then Jay walks in and I just learn everything when he walks in. So, but yeah, overall it's
Chris, you got anything to ask Dan?
You look at
go ahead.
program. You look at programs like St. Thomas Aquinas and Cocoa and Miami Northwestern. How does the program evolved, and looking at those programs, how and model your program after those winning programs like that?
Well, say those three programs one more time. It was St. Thomas, Miami Northwestern, and Cocoa. Okay. Cocoa is an exception, but the other two are in vastly higher number communities than Clearwater and St. Pete. Pinellas County is the most densely populated county, and I think it's one of the top 10 most densely populated counties in the country. But it doesn't mean there's a lot of people here. There is a lot of people, but not compared to Miami, not compared to Broward. So we're always going to have a numbers disadvantage against schools like that, just because there's more population to draw from. Now, Cocoa is unique because Cocoa has the unique ability in those schools. Like when you look at the evolution of a program, Brevard County, and when you look at Brevard County, who are the powers in Brevard County? Well, historically, it's been Palm Bay, but Cocoa's always been in there. Rockledge, Cocoa, Palm Bay, and some of those schools. As far as CCC is concerned, we've kind of had to do it the old school way, and that is we really had to build the program up through the JV program. There was a time we had a 9th grade program under Mike Gelazzo where we actually had enough players to have a 9th grade football team. So a lot of it was built up, and then we would have to take a couple steps back and take a couple steps forward. And I think that game against Berkeley this week, one of the things that I was looking at was the Berkeley series that we're playing. Really is emblematic of it, where there will be years where we lose to them like 3-4 years in a row, and then we'll win 2 or 3 in a row, and then we'll lose a couple. So, and like any program, you have to constantly re-envision what the program is supposed to be in order to get to where you want to be. And absolutely. That's kind of what it is. You're gonna take a couple steps forward every once in a while. You're gonna take a step back, and then you take 3 steps forward. So it's all about constant progression. And Coach Harvey does a great job with that, because Coach Harvey is a very upbeat, positive guy. He's a realist. And he knows exactly what this team needs each year in order to get where we need to go. And it's heart and hustle. It really starts in the weight room. It really, truly does.
No, absolutely. And Dan, I want to ask you that, because actually I want to point out this. If you're not following him on Facebook, if you're not friends with him on Facebook, I recommend you maybe take a look. It goes by his full name, Daniel Krause, on there. But Dan, you really, with this, everything you do, the notes each week, it's like I learn a wealth of knowledge from each team that when you post this. I'm like, all right, there's something about Clearwater Central. I'm like, I didn't know.
Well.
Talk about that, doing those kind of notes, because it's, there's very few programs that really put out extensive notes like this, because I know manpower is a big thing. Obviously, we know how coaches' pay is in the state, and being able to keep a team together for so long, it really, there's a lot of work here.
Well, here, and I'll just be honest with you. The one thing I try not to do is give back in my day stories to the current generation of football players, because the one thing current football players don't want to hear about is what was it like in 2007 and 2010? It's not their lived experience. So I try to avoid that with them, which is why I put it on social media, because you know who is on Facebook? All the football players from the past who have either played against CCC or have played for CCC. So I've always tried to mimic these pressers, these kind of ideas that are very factual based in the history of these series. These days, and this is not a negative comment, but everything has kind of become a little nationalized. CCC versus Berkeley, CCC versus Tampa Catholic, CCC versus Cardinal Mooney. These are important historical games for the state of Florida. There was a time you could not physically attend a CCC Cardinal Mooney game because you'd have to park literally 3 miles away from the stadium. Wow. So that, and I'm not joking when I say that. That is actually the very.
Oh, I believe you on that one. That is crazy.
But yeah, and now we had a little bit of a smaller stadium at the time too, but that is true. So I just think these are histories worth remembering. But as much as, and I mean, obviously I see things through red and gold glasses, but the reality is I have so much respect for the teams that we play. Sebring is an awesome environment. Like Polk, if you can get a chance to go to Fireman's Field, that's a great environment. It's great. But Berkeley has a powerful home field. They have fans, they'll fill it up. Tampa Catholic has a good home field. So a lot of it really just comes down to wanting to honor some of these traditional rivalries, but at the same time make sure that we don't get lost in nostalgia, that we make sure that there is a current team who is working as we speak in very hot weather and putting the effort in. But I also want to make sure that we do honor that the commitments and the alumni and the football players, and not just for CCC, the teams we've played. That's just as important. It takes two to tango. So while we, I'm going to see things from that lens when I post these statistics and the history of these games, but we want to honor the teams that we play too. So that's also a big reason why I do it. So maybe you don't like CCC. Maybe we are the team that you wake up and say, gosh, I hope they lose today. Cool. Then you can see, well, it looks like CCC is playing this team and they have a losing record to them. So go that team, whoever that is. So I try to keep things balanced, but that's always been kind of the driving motivator behind it.
No, absolutely. I love it. Go ahead, Chris.
So what, looking at this year's team, what are the things you're most excited about with this year's team?
Just this team right here. And now I use this as an analogy, so please forgive me, but this is an analogy. We are right now I'm a pizza guy. I love pizza. We are literally a pizza that is being cooked as we speak. We have the dough, we have the tomato sauce, and we have the cheese. We have the pizza. We just have to get it in the oven, and we just have to let it bake just enough. And we are very close to that. I think we have everything that we need this year to have another successful team. We just need a little bit more time. And I think that's why this Berkeley game is so important, because there is, with maybe one exception, there is no team on our schedule that is going to bring out the best of CCC football than Berkeley. And I don't think there's many teams on Berkeley's schedule that is going to bring out the best in Berkeley than CCC.
I mean, honestly, I say Coach Harvey's already a coaching legend in his own right for what he's done at CCC. Obviously, following, John Davis, obviously, the Mike Jalazzo and all those guys. But, going up against a Dom Sayo coach team, and Dom Sayo, he's like the dean of coaches in Tampa Bay. So, I mean, what is it just like to watch Dom Sayo coach out there, as looking at it not only as an opponent of them, but as a football fan?
The Dominator. So Dominic Sayo, when you go against the Dominic Sayo team, they are a very physical group up front. They've got a very strong offensive line every year. Even they can bang with anybody. One of the things that I always look at, and I had alluded to it in the podcast, it's kind of a forgotten year because of COVID, but Berkeley had the ball with a chance to beat Chaminade in 2020 in the state Final Four. And it was with under 2 minutes to go in the game, and they had the ball, and they were literally 50 yards away from winning the game. So when you go in, and if you don't absolutely have the utmost respect for like a Berkeley, that's the result that happens. And then teams will look around and say, how did we lose to Berkeley? Because you didn't take them serious. You have to take them seriously. They have to have your undivided attention, because that's the power of Dominic Sayo. If you take your eyes off Berkeley for even a second, they're going to beat you. And they've beaten us. I mean, they've beaten us the same way. So you have to pay them the utmost respect.
I say that I will go back 2 years ago, 2023, that 2M state championship between Norland and Berkeley Prep. What did Norland do? Thought they were just going to come in and roll Berkeley. Wrong answer.
So that's something that we focus on at CCC. Like, that's why we take this game so seriously, because if you don't, then what are we doing as coaches to prepare our players to win this football game? Now, the last 3 years we've had success. The previous 3 games to that, we didn't. We had opportunities. Berkeley had opportunities the last 3 years. In the 3 games prior to that, they had opportunities. And hindsight is 2020. We have more control over the weather than we do changing the history, right? So there's always going to be that 1 or 2 things that you look back on and wish you could do different. But I know there's some amazing national games this weekend, but I think in the Tampa Bay region, you're going to be very hard pressed to find a more interesting game with the historical context to really local communities, Hillsborough and Pinellas County, and the CCC Berkeley.
No, absolutely. And of course, this game will be one of our 6 on our pick 6 for picks this week. So definitely one of those games where it's highly respected, and it is definitely one of the top games, not just in Tampa Bay, but in terms of the entire state. And that's why it's good to talk about this, especially since, it is the season opener. Usually it's been the season opener or right within that first few weeks of it seems like every year. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I wanted to bring Dan on. It's not just because of his involvement at CCC, but it's also the knowledge of football, and especially around the area, and understanding the respect side, the factors of knowing what there's a lot of history here, and these teams still, the kids may not want to hear about it. I get that, but at the end of the day, that's history. That's what built these programs to what they are today.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent in the Tampa Bay region. There's a lot of good football teams in this region. There's just a lot of talent, I think, that goes kind of under the radar. I know even in our region with the teams that we play in Class 1A Region 2, that extends really to Daytona Beach, down to Melbourne, all the way over to Clearwater. I've had the opportunity to meet with a lot of coaches from different teams, a lot of friends that are part of those programs and rosters. And we always talk about, obviously, in Class 1A, obviously, there's always the number 1 team. But then we always talk about what does it take to get to that level. And then we always talk about there is really good football that gets played in Class 1A that probably goes under the radar a little bit. There's a lot of teams in Class 1A that can compete with anybody in any classification. Obviously, the team that's number 1 is going to get the focal point of the media because there's only so many hours in the day, and Class 1A football is as good as it is in many cases. It's still going to be something where, okay, we have time to talk about this one team or maybe 2 teams, but we need to get to these other classifications where most of our viewers are watching. And I get it. I get that, by the way. I'm on board with that. So I think that when I look at 1A as a whole, there's some amazing teams out there that you could really say have a chance to not, to represent their regions well, and, make a push for the state semifinals as well. So, yeah, I appreciate the work that you guys do, the opportunity to come on and just speak a little football. Obviously, I'm a CCC guy, but anytime, anything that's small school football, I'm probably going to be able to give you an honest opinion. Big school football, I just don't get a chance to go to a lot of the big schools unless we play them. It's just there's so many football teams in the state.
But about the biggest school, about the biggest school you're all going to play this year is, I think, this. I mean, that's going to be a good matchup later in the season as well. But Dan,
I like that.
You brought it up. You brought it up real good and clear. It's the small school football. There's a lot of teams that don't get their due diligence and do deserve it. I mean, we could start rattling off names. I'll just now a couple other teams that I'll rattle off in the Tampa Bay region. Carrollwood Day. A Tampa Catholic is another one that I sometimes don't feel like gives enough credit for, despite the fact, they've struggled the last couple of years. They still, most years put out a quality program. At Lakeland Christian is another one. A lot of these programs I could start throwing it out. These are small school programs.
Yeah, and the one that when we talk about Class 1A, I'm trying to figure out what Jacksonville Trinity Christian did wrong not to get more mention in what they've done. What have they done wrong to not get in the in the top 4, top 5? Because last I checked, Verlin Dorman, he's still the head coach up there, unless I'm not aware of something. And
he's still the dean. He's still the dean of coaches up there. And let me just be clear about the Florida Power Rankings Index to everybody here while we're talking about this. It's the big thing is that it comes down to a calculation of numbers, and it really just boils down to. I mean, they're in the top 5 to start the season, but could they, in my opinion, be towards maybe number 3 or number 4, somewhere in that region. It really you could throw anybody that between CCC, Lakeland Christian, Trinity Christian, even Cardinal Newman. You could mix it up and you'd be in the right order. That's that's a good
Cardinal
one.
Newman's going to have a very good football team this year. Coach Daniels does a great job with that program. You do a great job with the power rankings. I was just I was referring to a little bit more mind share, like when you just hear water cooler talk, people talking football. I always look at, well, what is, we hear about some teams, and then there's other teams that just kind of fly under the radar, but they always find a way to be there in the end. So I always look at that. But the rankings are a good thing because it gets people talking, right? So
absolutely,
anything that gets people talking football is a good thing for football.
Anything to add, Chris, before we wrap this up here?
Yeah, what the knowing the history of TCC, what the most fun thing you've come out of over the years?
Oh, with the most fun thing at CCC football is just going to have to be the camaraderie, just getting an opportunity to watch the coaches break down. It's a little bit more technical, but to be with Coach Chris Harvey and to be with Coach Davis when they go on the whiteboard together and they start breaking plays down and looking at the film on Saturdays, that to me has been the most fun, and being able to provide feedback and opinion on what a game plan looks like. One of the things that I think is someone sitting on a gold mine if they ever do it. But when you actually go in and break down the X's and O's of high school football, yes, it's always about the Jimmies and Joes, but you still have to have a game plan. So to answer your question directly, Chris, I've always found that the most fun thing is the game planning. And when it comes to high school football, looking at how do we match up against this team or that team. And it's hard to look too far ahead, but Saturday mornings, for coaches, it's relaxing because if you win, it's relaxing. If you lose, it's stressful. But it's a lot of fun because you get an opportunity to really just see, okay, where are we at really? And you don't have to worry about the concepts of looking at 5 weeks down the road. What do we need to do this week? This team we're playing, they're a very good team. So it's a good question. And I definitely think it's the Saturdays, it's the Sundays, it's watching the film, it's watching scout film, breaking teams down. To me, I think that's the most fun part. And just being around Chris Harvey, being around John Davis and how they do things, it's just been a joy because I've learned so much that I can apply to other aspects of my life, not just football. We talk about football being something to lead to life, and we instill that in our players. But how you break down like a 3-4 defense, and you can apply a lot of that to real life stuff too. So with the concepts, and I've always looked at it from that perspective. So definitely a lot of fun, and really good stuff.
No, I'm impressed with your wealth of knowledge, Dan. But we're gonna have to end it here. But we're gonna have to have you back on I think when we're gonna the playoffs and stuff like that. But man, it is just fun. I look forward to it, seeing all the news and notes. But also, by the way, you can follow Dan on X as well, Dan Krause CCC. So that's where you can find also a lot of stuff from him as well during the 2025 season. And Dan, I definitely appreciate it. And best of luck to the Marauders this week as they head over to Berkeley Prep. And Chris, great interview here with Dan, right?
Well, thank you very much, guys. I hope everyone has a great day, and thank you for doing a great job representing football.
No, I appreciate it, Dan. Thank you, and have a good one. All right, that was Dan Krause from Clearwater Central Catholic joining us here on the Blitz Tampa Bay edition. We're kind of running out of time here, Chris, so we're kind of probably just need to go ahead and segue into the question that we got. We've had some fan comments and stuff here, and as well. But good to see Charles Bell here on the chat, and Mark Cannon was asking about the Newton family. The only reason I didn't ask is I didn't want to ask necessarily about that because of just the way certain, and since Dan is an official representative of CCC, I don't want to put him on the spot when the next generation of the Newton family might be coming up. But I'm pretty sure it's got to be pretty good. It's going to be coming sooner rather than later. But anyways, Chris, you know what time it is? I know what time it is.
Pick six.
Yes, indeed. Let's roll with that with the pick six for week number 1 as we roll into it here. And let's talk about what we're going to do with these guys here as well. Let's roll into it here with the pick six here as we do this here each and every week. All right. As we roll into it, as remember, we've got our on the Pick Six screen. When we bring up the stat line, or bring up the forecast line, we'll have the full forecast either late tonight or tomorrow morning, and then we will roll. We'll also have the win probabilities. The win probabilities is something that is a premium feature on FloatHSFootball.com as part of the season ticket membership, $59.99 a year or $7.99 per month. But yes, Chris, first game up on the deck is Thursday night. Is Lakeland travels to Auburndale. They haven't played each other in the regular season in a minute, but there's been some talk around there, and I know Charles Bell will be happy I've got this game on the list. Probably for all intents and purposes, and he's probably saying that I am going to take Lakeland somewhere probably along that path, but I don't know. Do I go find Auburndale maybe in the way? I don't know. All right, what are you thinking, Chris? Here on this one.
I like Lakeland big in this game. I don't see Auburndale making much of a challenge, even though we have struggled last week. We'll see with Lakeland winning, I think.
No, absolutely, and I'm one of these ones that I'm really interested in seeing here what Auburndale does. I hope Auburndale can find a way to make it competitive in this game situation. As I bring up the forecast here, Lakeland is a 38-point favorite in this game here against Auburndale. Big reason I put it on this one is that it really is. There's a lot of talk on the Auburndale side here. I think Lakeland kind of got a slice of humble pie last week with Miami Northwestern, and they're going to ready to take it out on somebody, and that somebody, unfortunately, is Auburndale week 1. So in that case, my pick is for Lakeland as well, and where does Reno go with this one? Lakeland will cruise to victory. So it is a 3 for 3 on our picks here. As the win probability gives Lakeland a 100% chance. I probably will have a few nasty notes in my inbox tomorrow morning from Auburndale fans. So there you go. All right. Game number 2 on our pick 6 is Bartram Trail at Sumner here, and Bartram Trail came out on the short side of this one, but they make the return trip this year after playing the game there up in St. Johns County last year. Sumner looking pretty good. I think they're going to be a good team again, and I feel like the forecast is really, really interesting. Of course, Charles Bell says a comment in the thing. I don't know if I want to read it or not, but he's like, yeah, Lakeland's mad. Lakeland's upset. But anyways, back to Bartram Trail Sumner. As we pull up the forecast here on our screen here, this is going to be a good game. Like I said, it's going to be a good game. Bartram Trail is not a team to ignore. I don't care who you are. Okay, I don't care if they went 4-6 or 5-5, missed the playoffs. It's really one of those games. It's going to be close, Chris.
Yeah, this is one of those measuring stick games. Just like you're going to see from the start of the season at the end of the season, you're going to look back at this game. I think Sumner had a good chance to win this game in a late. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be. I think Sumner's going to win it though.
This is one of those games. As a coin flip. It's a 4-point spread here according to the Florida Power Rankings Index forecast. Win probability is sitting up. The cat is joining, as we sometimes see. One of the cats will join, and but win probability for Sumner. 66%. Bartram Trail sitting at a good 34%. So again, this game could go either way. And Sumner lost a lot of talent. It's a tough one. Coach Molina says he's taking Bartram Trail. This is where I'm really torn here, but I am going to put my pick on Coach Johns and Bartram Trail that wins this one. So that is where my pick is going here this week. Bartram Trail for the win. The next game, our game number 3 on our pick 6 is Wiregrass Ranch at Plant. Everybody talk about the ranch and everything. So, this is really, really interesting how this game's going to roll here. And it's going to be one of those games that could be either very close or maybe one of the teams pull away. I don't know, but let's see what the computer forecast brings up. As Chris, you tell me who you're thinking and what are you thinking here.
I was really torn about this game, actually. I think Wiregrass Ranch did a great program on the ride. I think they did a fantastic job last year. But give me Wiregrass Ranch. It's going to be a close game, probably I think it's going to be a 3-point game, maybe. It comes down to the last drive.
Well, Coach Molina says Plant's got dudes. He's taking Plant 14 by plus 14. This is what's tough. Plant's got some dudes. Wiregrass Ranch has had some dudes. If this game was not at Dad Stadium but at Wiregrass Ranch, I'd take Wiregrass Ranch. But I am going with the P and Plant Panthers and Hank Brown's team to win this game. So I am taking Plant here I'm going against the computer here on the rankings here. So with the forecast. All right. So to wrap this up, we're a few minutes over time, but hey, it's the end of the night, so we're wrapping this up. Clearwater Central Catholic at Berkeley Prep. This was a big one here, and we talked about it with Dan Krause, just the respect of this game, just what this game means, not just for CCC, but for Berkeley Prep. And it really, I feel like it's going to be really, really interesting to see what this game plays out this year. Again, CCC has lost this game. They could lose it 3-4 years in a row, but that doesn't necessarily make or break the season. It just gives them an identity to find who they're going to be for the rest of the season. And this one, this is a tough one because, again, Chris Harvey versus Dom Sayo, it's really hard to pick a team here in this one. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, just like the Plant just like the Plant game, I'm torn with this game because it's one of the big classics in Tampa Bay. Give me CCC by 2.
Wow. I am going with CCC here, but it's not to say that Berkeley Prep can't win. I mean, obviously the computer is saying there's a 3% chance, but 3% can mean a lot to a lot of teams here. Okay, yes, it's a 23-point spread. A lot of people are going CCC in the chat. I see Coach Molina going CCC. I think Prep short. CCC finally gets over the hurdle. Noli is going CCC as well. And Reno here, he's going CCC is all he sees. So CCC is all I see. Okay, all right. And with that said, we've got 2 more games here on the list here. We've got Bishop. Actually, it's supposed to be Bishop Row at Jesuit. I'm sorry, it's somehow duplicated, but this is Bishop Row at Jesuit. I should have that here. I'll bring up the forecast here. Bishop Row is a 13-point favorite over Jesuit, giving Bishop Row an 88% chance of winning. Jesuit 12%. Chris, what do you like about this game here? Because I feel like this is a good game between the two Catholic programs.
Yeah, another great game. Another one of those games that you want to pay to watch. Give me Bishop Row by 3. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
I think it's going to be closer than what the computer spread is calling for with Bishop Row at 13 over Jesuit. By the way, that game should be available on the Jesuit Tiger Sports Network on YouTube Friday night, a 7:30 kickoff. They have a really good team that broadcasts their games, not just in football, but all their sports there at Jesuit. So you should be able to catch that game available on live on YouTube Friday night. And I really do like this game. It's hard for me to go against Jesuit just because it's a home game, but I like Bishop Row. Bishop Row's got some dudes. Jesuit's got some dudes too. It really, I think this game is much closer than 13 points. I think it's whoever gets the ball last and it comes down to the wire, that's where it ends up at. That's where I feel like it ends up at. But I'm going Bishop Row. And Reno takes Bishop Row as well. So the Vikings all the way for us on that one. All right, last final game. I think it's probably the big one because this one was a barn burner shootout last year, as I would say. They call it a barn burner. It was a lot of points last year. I think there was like over 100 points in that game. If I can get it to go here, I don't know what's going on here. My thing has this Stream Deck has frozen up on me. I don't know why it's doing that, but give me one. Let me just figure out what's going on here. We've got our last game is Venice at Venice at Tampa Bay Tech here. And Chris, this is going to be a good one. Again, over 100 points scored between these two teams last year. It was like 63-40 something between the two teams. So just talk about this. I mean, Venice on title defense here as we roll into the season.
This is one of those games where we look back last year and thought, which Bishop Row team going to show up from one week to the next? So it's going to be a barn burner again. I think Bishop Road got a little bit too much for Tampa Bay Tech, but I think it's going to be another offensive slugger knot.
No, absolutely. And Coach Molina thinks Venice wins by 10 plus, by 10 plus points or by 10 plus touchdowns. I don't know which way he's thinking on that one, but Venice, you know, you should go with Venice on this one. I mean, I love what Tampa Bay Tech did. They went to Apopka last week, handed Apopka their butts basically in that kickoff classic. 10 plus points. Okay, thank you very much. I do appreciate that, Coach Molina. Emery Smith going with Venice as well. I am going with Venice as well. I feel like I don't feel like it's going to be necessarily the barn burner, so to speak, with this particular game this year. I feel like, as we heard Vinny Portel talk about in the Southwest Florida Blitz, that Venice has tightened some things up with defense, and they did tighten up that in the second half of the season. That obviously led to this championship run. And, you know, basically, we both watched it on the same field with them giving whiplash. But I'll tell you what, in this particular instance, Venice here, I feel like Venice is going to just roll in this one. And Reno is saying, I take Venice to win on this one. So it's Venice here on the sweep. And as you see here, Venice 26 over Tampa Bay Tech, 98% win probability. Tampa Bay Tech has a 2% chance. We'll have to see. But everybody in the chat is going with Venice as well as we wrap it up here. And Chris, boy, it has been a run here, but we've got 4 more shows tomorrow night. But it's been fun. 4 great guests tonight across our shows, and we have 4 great guests lined up for tomorrow night as well. So it's definitely going to be fun with everything as we wrap it up here.
Yeah, looking forward to the season, especially with Tampa Bay. I love seeing what Tampa Bay got to offer this year.
No, I love to see what the region has to offer as well. Obviously, CCC is one of the teams that everybody's talking about. Armwood's another team. A lot of people think Armwood can make a run to the state championship game this year. Mm-hmm. And Mark Janet, appreciate you. Great shows, Chris and Josh and Chris. Very good guest tonight. We'll have great guests tomorrow night. By the way, as we get to wrap it up here, let me just give you an insight of tomorrow night with our 4 shows. So tomorrow night, we have... For our shows tomorrow night, we will have Charles Jones from Central Florida Preps for Central Florida. We will have Justin Barney. He's making to make good on us for last week. What happened? He is locked in from News4Jax WJXC TV for Northeast Florida. North Central Florida, we will have Noah Ram from the Gainesville Sun on, and then we will have Allison Posey from WCTV TV in Tallahassee to join us on the Panhandle Blitz. So that's a look forward to what we have tomorrow night with the Blitz shows, starting at 7 o'clock. Eastern time, right here on FloridaChessFootball.com and FloridaChessFootball.com social media platforms. Premium season ticket membership, you can get one. FloridaChessFootball.com/season ticket. Watch us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button at FloridaHS Football. Follow us on social media at FloridaHS Football, except X at FLAHS Football. Chris, any final thoughts you want to give before we roll along? One more set of final thoughts, I should say.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You should be good. And we look forward to seeing all you all tomorrow.
No, absolutely. All right, for Christopher Like, I'm Joshua Wilson. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for the Central Florida Blitz.